It used to be called Thanksgiving Day, but now it's Thanksgiving weekend, with Black Friday sales following, or what I like to call Black and Blue Friday sales, because it's like a minor hockey league game in some of those stores. Recently I discovered that I cannot be happy this holiday season without an iPad about this thin and a 65-inch HDR LED LG TV. LOL. And of course, a cozy blanket with a hole in it for your neck and sleeves for your arms. Now I know why people have this aching void within their hearts. Now I know what they are missing the whole time it has been a Snuggie. But we are not that superficial, right? I think Thanksgiving Day is in November because it is an appropriate time to show gratitude in one of the most bleak months of the year. Cold, gray, wet, leafless, second only to February on the bleakness scale. At this time, we find gratitude for many things and relationships, in things, the simple things, the overlooked, overcooked, meaningful things, like growing older, because not everybody gets that opportunity. Or when we're waiting in line at the grocery store because you can afford to eat. Or being thankful for being stuck in traffic because it sure beats standing in the rain waiting for a bus. And gratitude for family. Sitting around the table are the people in your life. Dad, my dad, who every year at this time took out his velvet-lined box, the key to the city, it was like, displaying his General Electric carving knife with the extra long cord and the two reciprocating blades, perfect for the holiday dinners. He would take great pride in carving the golden bird. It was like ice sculpting to him. And here comes my annual Thanksgiving pun, by the way. He'd wield those General Electric stainless steel twin blades with the serrated carbide tips and trim every speck of meat off the bone like a master. Now wait for it. Watching Dad work was like poultry in motion. Yes, you've heard it every year. And you've probably also heard about my Democratic brother and my Republican brother-in-law who always got into their annual debate, holiday debate, about the evils of socialism and the corruption of capitalism with the familiar assaults, you pinko socialist, you neo-fascist, tyranny like hell is not easily conquered. Could I just have another piece of pie, please? My sister gave thanks for food. My grandmother, who once tried out for the Radio City Rockets, but chose to be a Methodist instead, gave thanks for long life. My Uncle Lester, a World War II ex-Navy veteran, gave thanks for his two natural teeth that lined up so he could eat proper. My dad, he gave thanks for Rolaids. And my mom would give thanks for all of you, she would say, which was quite humbling to hear. It takes all kinds to be a family, and if you're fortunate enough to be gathered around a table with family this Thanksgiving, you'll realize that there's always someone who needs a little extra grace, some needed special attention. And if you don't see that person, it's you. You're the one. Now, perhaps you may have noticed my sticker on my computer. I'm an Episcopalian, ask me about God. And when people do ask me, I usually say, why don't you leave me alone? Can't you see I'm working on my computer? No, I don't say that. I say, God is love. God is life. God is unboxable. Some believe God gives meaning and hope to life. Others believe there is no greater meaning to life, and we exist because of some primordial accident where 3.5 billion years ago our single-celled self crawled out of some slime pit, evolved, and went to live in the suburbs. Both perspectives take faith. Both are built on a system of belief. And when you get involved in faith discussions, which I love to do, often the person with the spiritual conviction is seen as being closed-minded, and others are seen as being open-minded. But what is interesting is at the center of our Christian faith is the assumption that this life is not all that there is more than material things, multi-dimensions, mysteries yet unfurled, more than what we can see and touch and measure and analyze and box and sell and control. There is more. Those who oppose this insist that this is all there is. There is no more. So which perspective seems more closed-minded? We have a choice. I know of a woman who had to file a missing persons report on her husband who disappeared. And the officer asked her to describe her husband. Well, he's 6'3", dark curly hair, and well-built. Her surprised friend said, "What are you talking about? Stan is 5 foot tall, has 3 hairs on his head, and he has a huge belly." The woman said, "Who wants that one back?" Once you open yourself up to the divine spirit, once you peer over the edge of the rim of the world, who wants to go back? The ability to change is the measure of intelligence, said Einstein. Now today we celebrate Christ the King Sunday, and we find our King upon a cross, another mystery unfurled. So what kind of king is he? Not the sort of king we would expect, to be sure. Pilate hung an inscription above his wounded head, King of the Jews, it said, which was a charge, not a title. Jesus has been lifted up, not on a throne, but on a cross. The crown he wears is made of thorns. The places on his right and his left are not occupied by his royal advisors, but by 2 criminals. His royal court is made up of people offering vinegar and wine on a sponge and gambling for his royal robe. What kind of king is this? He was born to a teenage mother in a world that could find no room for his bed. He grew up with stories, hearing stories about the Old Testament, about God who lifted up the lowly and brought down the proud. His friends were a scruffy crew of fishermen and peasants. He ate with sinners and anyone else who would have him at their table. This king preached from boats and on hillsides. He preached his threatening message of love and peace and goodwill to all. Oh, how wicked, how criminal, how nefarious. He ministered to all, the rich, the poor, men, women, children, Jew, Gentile, righteous, sinners. This king preached on how the first shall be last and the last shall be first. How the greatest among us is the one who serves. This king talked about turning the other cheek and giving up our coats and our cloaks. This king said, anyone who wants to save his or her life will have to lose it. But whoever loses their ego-driven life for his sake would learn what life truly means. This king came to tell us that God is with us, not just during our victories and our joys, but also in our low times and suffering. He came to turn the world upside down, to change the rules, to challenge the power structures of his day and ours. His last words to a human being were words of welcome and acceptance. To a criminal who asked him, "Remember me." No penitence needed, no amends to make, no lectures, no sermons, no teachings, no church membership form or baptismal requirements to be met first. The king said, "I promise you today, you will be with me in paradise." Jesus, remember us in your kingdom, for you are the King of our hearts. Amen.